Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the First Edition. We have an interesting episode tonight. If you didn't know, if you weren't here last time, then we tried to stream or go over the Has Been Hotel episode, the pilot episode of Has Been Hotel, but apparently it's been copyrighted, and you can't actually do that anymore. You can't go over the Has Been Hotel, and if you do, YouTube would just snipe down your stream, it seems. Let's see. 1 second. Let's see if everything is going quite well. Okay, I'm gonna test something. Can anyone see me? Can anyone hear me in the chat? Making sure. Gonna make sure. Can you hear me in the chat? I'll wait a few seconds. Wait a few seconds. We're gonna see if you can hear me in the chat. Just let me know if you can hear me. Just making sure YouTube is not messing with me again. Let's see. Okay. Can you still hear me? It says it's telling me now that I'm offline. Let's see here. Let's see. Make sure this is working correctly. Make sure this is working correctly. Okay. So apparently I'm still online. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I don't know. I'm just making sure that YouTube is not taking me down again. Now I'm paranoid about it. Okay, let me make sure I have everything up and running. Okay, fantastic. Okay, awesome. So I've not gone offline at all, and it seems to be running fairly well. Fairly well. Okay, so just making sure YouTube is not trying to tank me again out of nowhere. But today I have something to make up for yesterday's stream, since yesterday's stream didn't work out too well because of YouTube. I have no idea why. I guess that, as I said, it seems that Has Been Hotel has been copywritten, and you cannot cover it anymore. And so you can't stream it, you can't do anything with it. And that seems to be where we are. Other than that, I have, since we were on the topic of hellish beings and other villainous creatures, I have decided to go ahead with, to stay with the theme. And what better way, what better hellish creature to cover than the wonderful Hannibal Lecter? But it's not going to be about Hannibal Lecter. It's going to be characters like Hannibal Lecter. And what might go into writing a character like this? Because a character like Hannibal Lecter, it's usually on the surface. People tend to see Hannibal Lecter's surface traits, and then when they try to copy him or create a character like him, we don't get a nice, rich, developed character like Hannibal Lecter. We get all of his superficial, quote-unquote, cool traits. So, after going into that, well, before we go into that, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? And we are back with the First Edition. I am your humble host, Literature Devil, and it seems that YouTube has not taken us down, which is excellent. Very merciful of YouTube to let us use its platform fairly and legally. Yeah, episode 28 was supposed to be the Has Been Hotel episode that actually stayed up, but we were given a big no-no. But that's okay. We persevere. That's what we do. So I have 3 people up here. And we have Hannibal Lecter, we have Patrick Bateman, and we have the infamous Joker. Not the Joker, but Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. And the reason why I have all three of these up here is because they are all kind of the same person. They're kind of the same character. They're all this. They're all same in. It's the same in essence. And that's not because they're crazy. It's not because they're killers. It's because they are fascinating characters who happen to be crazy and killers. And that's one thing. You see, take Hannibal Lecter for instance. You see him in Silence of the Lambs, and he's immediately intriguing. But the face I have up there is one of the most famous faces that he is. That's pretty much the essence of Hannibal Lecter, at least when he was introduced to the movie-going public. That was essentially Hannibal Lecter. He was scary, immediately terrifying. He was inquisitive. He was very, very perceptive. Those are what you get from Hannibal Lecter. He's perceptive. He can see right through your mind. He can see into your soul. He's very hypnotic, very intelligent. He's very clinical. He has a very dangerous. He's an edge, very scalpel-like. He has that clinical feel to him, like an operator, a doctor, and that's why he's a doctor, Dr. Lecter. And but we don't get that with these other two. They're all different. They're all very different characters, but they're all kind of the same in essence. Patrick Bateman, he's a worker on Wall Street. Yeah, if you watch the movie, I guess he's a vice president, one of like the 20 vice presidents that movie has, that Pearson Pierce has. And but he's interesting nonetheless. He is very selfish, very self-centered. He is a man balancing between what he thinks is right and what he knows is wrong, which is kind of weak because he knows what he's doing is wrong, and it doesn't seem like he feels bad about it because it's bad to do, but because it might get him wrong sometime. It might throw him in prison at one point, get him in trouble. But sometimes he kind of juggles between whether he cares or not. But he also happens to be a serial killer, hence the title of the work in which he enters, the work which he stars in, American Psycho. And then we have the Joker. Now, as opposed to Patrick Bateman and Hannibal Lecter, who are both relative elitists in the respective fields, but Patrick Bateman even being more so, being so particular, down to his suits, down to his glasses, down to the movies he watches, down to the music he listens to. Hannibal Lecter just enjoys the finest things in life, like fine wine, good food, good music, that sort of thing. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is the opposite of those two. Almost a complete opposite. He lives in squalor. He doesn't really care about the finer things in life. He mainly just wants to find his identity, find where he belongs. And then later on, he devolves into the man called not the Joker, but Joker. The thing is, if we take away all these extraordinary identities of all three of these men, take away all the sensationalism from all these three men, you find that they are still intriguing characters. In fact, Bret Easton Ellis, when he was about to write Patrick Bateman, he was going to write American Psycho as another book entirely. He's going to have Patrick Bateman without the psycho part of it. He just added it in there for several different reasons. But the lesson here is that Patrick Bateman was a character first, and then a psycho later on. That's the essence of what these sort of characters are. These Hannibal Lecter, these Joker, these Patrick Bateman-esque characters are. They are interesting and very overtly disturbing characters, even without the sensationalism of serial killers or criminal masterminds. And so they take away Dr. Lecter's serial killer part of him, take away that part of him, take away Patrick Bateman's serial killer part of him, take away the Joker part of Joaquin Phoenix's character, and they are still very interesting. For example, if you ever watch the movie, if you watch The Joker, we spend most of the movie with Joaquin Phoenix's character. I can't remember his name at the moment. What was his name? I think it was Arthur Fleck. Arthur Fleck, yeah. We spend most of the movie with Arthur Fleck. We only get maybe a glimpse of the Joker every once in a while, and we don't really see him in full Joker getup until the very, very, very end, when the movie is heading towards its final ending, its final conclusion. And in order for that to happen, the character of Arthur Fleck must intrigue us. The character of Arthur Fleck must be a satisfying and fully fleshed out character in his own right, or else he would have walked out of the theater, or else Joker would have been a failure. Because if people just came for Joker, the Joker character, then they would be disappointed for most of the movie. They would be completely disappointed because he doesn't appear until the very end. But it made about $1 billion. It made about $1 billion. Because people love the movie. And people love the movie because Arthur Fleck himself is interesting. Like Patrick Bateman is interesting. You see, most of the movie of American Psycho is not Patrick Bateman killing people. It's Patrick Bateman dealing with his neuroses, or Patrick Bateman dealing with the world around him, the shallowness of the world around him, how people look at each other, dealing with the times and the environment, the very shallow, very self-absorbed, very hollow, very materialistic environment he finds himself in. That's what's interesting. It so happens to be the psycho part really adds an extra layer of substance, but it's not really the main essence of the movie of American Psycho. It's not even the main essence of the book. It's like with Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker is not the main essence of the movie The Joker. It's Joaquin Phoenix's, it's Arthur Fleck's motivations. It's Arthur Fleck's it's his character, the trouble that his character goes through, the tension, all the interesting things that happen to Arthur Fleck, and all the interesting things that develop during the movie that he has to face and go through. And then he so happens to be the Joker. As a college professor once pointed this out once, and he was talking about Hannibal Lecter, and there's a reason why I'm making this stream, because this is pretty much the essence of what he said, is that Hannibal Lecter is an interesting character who happens to be a psychotic serial killer. Just like with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and Patrick Bateman's serial killer, Hannibal Lecter is interesting without the sensationalist part. The sensationalist element of him being the serial killer. I mean, most of his iconic scenes, or a good many of his iconic scenes, aren't him going around and killing people. It's him eating, it's him speaking, it's him scoping things out. Even the television show Hannibal, if anyone has seen the television show Hannibal, they can show Hannibal eating. You don't even know if it's a person or not. No, you don't know if he's eating a human, but it's just the scene, the sight of Hannibal eating. That's intriguing because he eats people and kills people. But it's the sophisticated way he does it. It's that the tension brought on by opposites. That this sophisticated, very elitist man is doing something so taboo and savage. Because what do you think when you hear cannibalism? You think of some tribe, some lost tribe far locked away from civilization, or you think of despotism. You think of people being stranded somewhere. You think of sailors with nothing else to eat, eating each other for sustenance. It's usually cannibalism is usually linked to savagery and taboo, which is why it's so interesting. It immediately grabs your attention when you see an elitist like Hannibal Lecter commit an act of cannibalism, because it's a merge of the savage with the elite. But even without that, even without the serial killer element, even without all that stuff, you take away all the things that Hannibal Lecter is supposedly known for. He's the sensationalist part of it. You're left with a man who is very perceptive, very blunt, or blunt when he wants to be, and very strategic when he wants to be. He scopes you out. He can see through your mind. He doesn't have to be a killer at all. He can just see through your mind and manipulate you. It can manipulate you from going from one area in your thoughts to another. And that's what makes Hannibal Lecter interesting, because he is that perceptive psychiatrist. You can come in hating the man, and he can speak to you. He can see what's in your mind, and you'll leave loving the man. That's the interesting part of Hannibal Lecter. The serial killer part is sensationalism. The interesting thing about Patrick Bateman is the fact that he's so strange, and that he lives in an environment that's so alien to us. Because the normal people actually have, on the large scale, most normal people have at least some level of empathy. And it's all about people caring about one another. People actually in the real world care for one another. They tend to like each other. They tend to, even if they're complete strangers, tend to want to help each other. I mean, a lot of the times, anyway. The world of Patrick Bateman doesn't do that. And that's why it's so interesting, because it's so alien to most people. That's one of the reasons why Bret Easton Ellis wrote the story the way he did. Because he was a guy who stepped into the world of liberal New York. And I know if you actually read the book, and one of the things he doesn't like, one thing he finds troublesome, is how much they worshipped Trump during that time, Donald Trump, because it was such a, he was worshipped because he made a lot of money. He was worshipped because he was so good at what he did, and all these other guys are just being cutthroats and backstabbers, and their main goal was to make money and to screw everyone else out of the money so they can get theirs. It was a very materialistic environment. And of course, American Psycho, the environment of American Psycho, is an exaggerated form of that. But it's still a form of that environment that Bret Easton Ellis found himself in. And he found himself in the shoes of Patrick Bateman. Of course, Bret Easton Ellis was not the serial killer Patrick Bateman was, but Patrick Bateman is a stand-in, more or less, for Bret Easton Ellis during that time. Bret Easton Ellis wanted to fit in. He tried to fit in with the people in the environment surrounding him. But he wasn't that way. He didn't match them. He felt like a deviant because he wasn't a deviant. That's where you get Patrick Bateman. Because he's an oddity deep down. He wanted to fit in, but deep down and under all the masks he wore, he was an oddity nonetheless. And he hated these people. He began to hate a lot of these people. He began to hate so much all these people who are just ruining everything, who just oppressing all these strange, immoral morals on everyday life. And if you read his book White, he writes out his feelings on the 2016 election, where these were people who were once his friends. They were normal people, and the election made them crazy. All of a sudden, they went from normal people to people who would just kick you out for no reason at all, would just explode in your face for no reason at all. And that's the world that he found during the 80s, and that's the world he set, kind of the same world that he set Patrick Bateman in. And then he made Patrick Bateman a psycho killer, just to have that little extra layer of sensationalism. So it's that interesting layer. It's the fact that Patrick Bateman is such an interesting character. It's due to the world in which he lives, and how he himself, Patrick Bateman, I'm speaking about, how Patrick Bateman is contending with the contrast between what he wants to do and a world in which he doesn't like, the world in which he lives, but at the same time hates. And that's where you get such an interesting drive with such a character. And then we have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the character of Arthur Fleck. He seems to be crazy. He seems to be out of his mind. He has all kinds of seemingly mental problems. And we get a whole bunch of things going on with him. He gets the mystery over his father, the mystery over who's his real mother, the mystery over his identity. Is his name really Arthur Fleck? It turns out it's not. The mystery of whether or not he's Thomas Wayne's son. His goal is identity. Patrick Bateman's goal is to fit in. Hannibal Lecter's goal is to see what happens, to cause chaos, to intrigue and entertain his deranged and interesting mind. What they all have in common is that they are fantastical characters that are overcome with their sensationalism. The sensationalism is what we see first, but remove the sensationalism, and they are excellent characters. And that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I really wanted to talk about, was exploring this little phenomenon that these characters are so interesting, and what makes them interesting. Because what makes them interesting, as I said, is not the sensationalism. It's the elements, it's the character elements that really make them up. And it's the sensationalist elements that we enjoy, that we remember, that make them pop culture icons. Like Hannibal Lecter's famous brain-eating scene from Hannibal, or Hannibal Lecter's famous scene where he just beats some guards to death in his cell. Those things. Or Patrick Bateman's famous scene where he hacks Paul Allen to death in his apartment. The Joker stairs scene. I mean, these are all sensationalist elements of these characters that we remember and we love and we cherish. But we look underneath, and the fact is, with the sensationalism is what makes them extravagant, but it is not the sensationalism is not what makes them memorable. It's not why we like them. It may seem like that's why we like them, but it's not really why we like them. We like them because of all the elements, the character elements that we see, but kind of we forget about because they're covered up by the sensationalist elements. So having said that, let's see who's in the chat. So thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you everyone for joining me. Let's see what this is. Of course, because this is a makeup string from yesterday. Because a YouTube site has sniped down my stream because I want to talk about Has Been Hotel and cover it as we played it. But I think we're okay just showing pictures. It seems like. I think we're okay just showing pictures. I was going to go through the scenes of Hannibal Lecter, scenes of Patrick Bateman, scenes of the Joker. But I'm pretty sure if Has Been Hotel took us down, those big blockbuster movies would probably take us down even harder. So I think it's better to stay safe, and so we can have an operational stream to stay with the pictures for now until we figure out what's going on. Let's see here. Bitches love cannons. Take a shot every time I say Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter. Go ahead. Let's see here. Playing Flying Turret 208, welcome. I think I saw some playing cards of that Joker. Also, about that Joker, what a long face. Well, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is, you don't know if he's happy or not. He laughs, but we don't know if he's happy or not. It's kind of a part of his character. I would find it interesting to have a playing card set for this particular Joker. It'd be interesting. Let's see here. All right. Okay. The Board Enthusiast. Great. Now you killed him with alcohol poisoning. Hannibal Lecter. Well, the interesting thing, let's go back into the characterization of these three people. So, what do they have in common? First of all, they're all interesting characters because they're so different from us. Hannibal Lecter the main elements he has is that he's very perceptive. He can read your mind, your thoughts. He can sense your emotions and your feelings, and he can manipulate you. He can manipulate those emotions and feelings and manipulate you in turn. And that's the essence of his character. That's what makes him so dangerous. He's also a wolf in sheep's clothing. He can meld easily with the people around him. It's also what makes him so dangerous. Patrick Bateman has these same aspects. What really makes Patrick Bateman so interesting is how strict he is with everything. How much emphasis he puts on looks. How much emphasis he puts on having the latest fashions, having the latest haircut, being better than everyone else, having the business card that everyone loves. being so jealous about not being able to get a good table at the best restaurant in town because someone else is more influential than he is. And the Joker, the Arthur Fleck, before he ever became the Joker, he was interesting because he too was so alien. And what was the I think what was the thing about someone spoke about relatable characters, and that how characters don't really need to be relatable. They need to be extraordinary first. They need to be intriguing. They need to be they need to draw the reader or the viewer in first before anything else. Relatability is not important. And that this whole wave, this whole fad that main characters must be relatable. Well, that whole argument is smashed to pieces by characters like these, like Hannibal Lecter, like Patrick Bateman, like the Joker, like Arthur Fleck, because none of these characters are really relatable. In fact, that's the point of Patrick Bateman. It's the point of Hannibal Lecter, and it's especially the point of Arthur Fleck's Joker. That none of these people are relatable at all. At least, I hope not. No more people aren't like these people. That's what makes them so interesting, so alien when you compare them to normal people. Then one of the most memorable things about Hannibal Lecter in particular is his voice. That the HAL 3000 style voice, where it's very robotic, very clinical, very monotone, very psychotic sounding. Clayton Kindle, Phoenix Joker got me. After the movie, things fell off for the rest of the evening. He struck an interesting nerve for me, but I didn't like the movie in the end because it felt unreliable. Yeah, that's the one thing about the Joker. It has a very similar aspect to American Psycho, and a very similar aspect to Fight Club, where the narrator stops being a reliable source of information. You don't know what happens, and you don't know what's true, what you can believe, and what you can't. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Joker, at least the movie anyway, is that there's so many things going on, and you don't, and it sets it up, it builds it up. It gives you hints. The Joker movie gives you many hints that there are things in this movie that do not happen. You see them happen, but you're left wondering, did they really happen? Did they really happen, or were they all a figment of Arthur Fleck's imagination? Same thing with Patrick Bateman. Did he really kill all those people? Did he kill anyone at all? Maybe it's a cover-up by his rich father, and we don't know. But his craziness, his interesting way of thinking, his self-centeredness, everyone is so self-absorbed that we have an environment in which Patrick Bateman could potentially kill a lot of people. As he says in the movie, he had to kill a lot of people. It's an environment that Patrick Bateman could easily kill a lot of people, but no one would notice. They say, "Oh yeah, I was." He could kill Paul Allen, and someone could easily say they were with Paul Allen 2 days ago, and they met him in London for lunch. It's not only in the Patrick Bateman's case, not only his character, but the environment in which he lives, and that on the surface, Patrick Bateman is one of the people that live in that environment. He is shallow, he is self-serving, he is only concerned with the latest trend, the latest fashion. But underneath, he's screaming out against the society. He's screaming out against the way the world is. And that's another thing that all three of these characters have in common. They are a very violent, very disturbing, yet also a very powerful rebellion against modern society. Or at least a society in which they live. And the Joker says, we all live in a society. But Hannibal Lecter is he's a rogue. He's a rogue citizen. He is a predator among sheep, more or less. Same goes with Patrick Bateman and the Joker. That's why they are their own flavor. And you can have sensational characters. You can have characters that are interesting with sensational elements, like I don't know. Let's see here, like action heroes. Some of them are actually interesting characters about their action hero parts. But the sensationalist part comes in with their I don't know, ex-special forces background, etc. But they're a whole different flavor. They feel so different from the characters like Hannibal Lecter, Patrick Bateman, and the Joker, Arthur Fleck. I think the reason for that is because they're different. The goals of these characters are different. The goals of an action hero, for example, is a goal to just carry on through an action hero plot and beat the bad guy in the end. Let's really at the core, at least one of the elements, is really at the core of characters like Hannibal Lecter, characters like Patrick Bateman and Arthur Fleck, is that they are all representations of very violent and bitter rebellion. More so in the cases of Patrick Bateman and the Joker. Hannibal Lecter is more of a sneer than a active violent rebellion. A cold sneer at society. But all three of these characters are rebellious in nature. They are against the grain, against what we kind of take for granted, take advantage of. Blank, you'd be crazy to believe that there's any one kind of crazy. There's any one kind of crazy. Oh yeah, there's so many different kinds of crazy. So many different flavors of crazy out there. Quite a few. That's what I think that's what I've seen from the pattern of characters like these three. That it's so interesting, so intriguing, because even though they are all very different, especially Arthur Fleck's Joker and Patrick, how different between Joker is between Patrick Bateman and Hannibal Lecter, how different the elitists are from the Arthur Fleck Joker. That the one thing they really do have in common is that sense of rebellion, a sense of going against the mainstream society and fighting against it, raging against it, not just standing against it, not just acting against it, but raging against it. Patrick Bateman, he personifies that feeling in particular. Arthur Fleck's Joker personifies that feeling as well. And Hannibal Lecter he personifies it in a different manner, but he still personifies the same exact feeling. So if you want to write a character, if you're going to have a character like one of these three, I think you have to take that into consideration. That's something you might have to start off with. So I think it'd be interesting if we all did that together. What if we made a character like one of these guys together? What if we did that? Would you like that, chat? What if we made our own Joker? We made our own Hannibal Lecter, our own Patrick Bateman. If you do, go ahead and let me know. Let me throw out some ideas. Where are we going to start? Are we going to start with an elitist like Patrick Bateman, an elitist like Hannibal Lecter, different sectors, where Hannibal Lecter is more of the intellectual, Patrick Bateman is more of the kind of like the empty-headed slave to his own desires and ambitions, and the Joker being not the elitist, being the guy from the gutter, who is an icon of rage, an icon of rebellion itself. Which one would we like to start off with, chat? I'll wait a few seconds. See where we're going with this. I think it'd be a little bit fun to have a little writing exercise. That's what this. After all, that's what this channel is about. Having fun with the ideas of writing. So I think it'd be interesting. Let's make our own Hannibal Lecter, or Arthur Fleck, or Patrick Bateman. Let's see here. Clayton Kindle, the unreliability left me enjoying the character throughout the movie. I don't feel like I was being lied to. Like, what did I just watch? I kind of like that. I kind of like that sense of that movie. But the character of Arthur Fleck was very interesting. And as I've been saying, he was an interesting character. And then the Joker part, the Joker element to his character and the Joker element to the movie is more like a flourish than a core element. Let's see here. An accountant. Let's see. Hex Harper, you say an accountant. Okay. Let's see here. On Creeper Weirdo, Rambo First Blood was practically a drama, and it was great to watch. Yeah, the Rambo First Blood. First Blood, the very first Rambo movie, was interesting. It was only one death. Only one person died. It wasn't really even Rambo's fault. The guy just kind of fell out of a helicopter, I believe, trying to shoot Rambo. And it was more of a commentary on how soldiers that had fought in Vietnam are being treated, and how they're coming home being treated as enemies, as villains, despite the fact that they spent all this time fighting America's enemies and came back, if not physically traumatized, then mentally traumatized, or both. And it was a good look into some very real and powerful aspects of the war, and how people came back, who fought the war, came back wounded, mentally as well as physically. Rambo being an extreme version of that, but despite Rambo being this secret super soldier, he shared the same experiences, the same pretty much everything as people who came back from Vietnam, as even the regular grunts did. So an accountant, or Hex Harper says an accountant. Let's see here. Stephen Fitzgerald, regardless, any good psychopath needs either a traumatic childhood or some inherent childhood sociopathic behavior. You know what? On that note, right? I'm going to talk about while you think over what you want to the basis of the character. Let's talk about Harley Quinn and how horrible her character has been treated. Because now that you mentioned that the a character like this, like Hannibal Lecter, etc., must have some sort of traumatic childhood or some inherent childhood sociopathic behavior. Now that you mention it, that they forgot in the hurry to make the turn Harley Quinn to this feminist icon character, they forgot to make her villainous. I mean, they made her violent, they made her like a morally ambiguous, but they forgot to remember that she's a villain. She's a bad guy. Okay, she specifically, if you want to go in D&D terms, okay, if you want to go in like that, what was it, that alignment system terms, you could say, given that maybe the typical iteration of the Joker is more or less chaotic evil. I've been told that, or explained how it's been explained to me. That Joker is more or less chaotic evil, and judging from what I know about chaotic evil, that seems to be pretty spot on. Harley Quinn is neutral evil. Okay, she might seem like the innocent victim, or the unwilling victim of the Joker, the partner who is just madly in love with him for no reason at all, or for reasons we can't explain. What they forgot about Harley Quinn is that she's more or less neutral evil, which is basically the alignment of selfishness. She will. I always took Harley Quinn as someone who is devoted to the Joker, but she will stop at no length to uphold her ambitions and her wants. So I could see Harley Quinn, because she wants to serve the Joker, she wants to do what he wants. His happiness is her happiness. That's what people don't really see, is that she's not the Joker's slave. She wants to make the Joker happy. Harley Quinn wants to do what the Joker says. She wants to worship the Joker. That's what she wants. That's the essence of her character. And because it's people don't really, I mean, modern writers, I'm not saying most people probably see this, but modern writers for Hollywood or whatever, they don't see this, and it's easy to overlook because it kind of gets lost in what it appears like love for the Joker, like selfless love for the Joker. It's not. It's selfish love for him. It just so happens to be her character to want to worship him, want to do what he says, because that's what she also wants. Should she stop wanting to do that, then she's a slave to her own desires. She will kill, she will hurt, she will maim, she will blackmail, she will do anything in her power to achieve her own ends, achieve her own desires, her wants and needs. If, for example, if she were, she wasn't trying to better herself or anything, if she wanted a dress or something, for example, if she wanted this new dress, she would go in and kill everyone in the store to get it. That's Harley Quinn. It just so happens to be that one of her main desires is to love and serve the Joker. It's a coincidence. Okay, it's a coincidence. That's what modern writers seem to tend to forget. That she's a neutral evil. She's not a poor victim. She is serving her own wants by serving the wants of the Joker. and it's just so perfectly aligned that the amateur writers and the I'm not even sure they're amateur, the talentless writers up there in Hollywood can't see that. They just see someone who's enslaved by the Joker. She's not. She's in full control. I mean, another example of this is have you ever seen the movie Sweeney Todd? The what his name was? Tim Burton. The Tim Burton Sweeney Todd. It's the same. It's the same exact relationship, but you can see it a little clearer, right? You see a little clearer. Now, I'll explain it this way. Okay? Miss Lovett is Sweeney Todd's Harley Quinn. Now, if you look at that movie, Sweeney Todd, you look at it. Miss Lovett ends up as the one responsible for putting Sweeney Todd's wife in the mental asylum. And then when Sweeney Todd comes back home, she said, "Oh, not mental asylum, but she hides the identity of Sweeney Todd's wife." Okay, and so when Sweeney Todd comes back, he is looking for his wife. He wants to avenge her. He wants to avenge what happened to him, and it's Miss Lovett who tells him that she's dead. She knew him. She knew his wife until the very end, but she could not handle the trauma that she underwent, and she took her own life. That's what Miss Lovett said. She's exactly the same alignment as Harley Quinn. Miss Lovett she's in love with Sweeney Todd. She wants to love and serve Sweeney Todd the best she can. That's her selfish desire. Same exact desire Harley Quinn has towards the Joker. Okay. Notice that Miss Lovett, she will lie, she will cheat, she will steal, and she will probably even kill, so that she can achieve her goal of being Sweeney Todd's one and only love. She will lie to Sweeney Todd. She will manipulate Sweeney Todd so that he will love her. She will do whatever he wants so that he will love her. She will kill and bake people into pies so that he will love her. So keep that in mind. It's not just that she's going to kill for him or commit crimes for him. She's committing these crimes for herself. She's committing these crimes and doing all these horrible things to manipulate Sweeney Todd into loving her. That's the difference. Hollywood writers see Harley Quinn and would see Miss Lovett as being a slave to respective lovers, to respective men, to Sweeney Todd and to Joker. They see it as them just falling into an evil man's embrace and them sullying themselves to serve his whims so that their men will love them. It's not like that at all. Harley Quinn and Miss Lovett, they're different. It's different. It's not selflessness. It's not they're so selfless towards their men that they are willing to commit horrible acts and horrible crimes according to their wishes. It's that Harley Quinn and Miss Lovett are doing so selfishly. They would already do this. They on their own, they will kill, lies, cheat, and steal to get what they want. And so it happens to be what they want are these two men. Okay, I think I rambled long enough. I think hopefully that explains it a little bit more. That's the difference. Okay, it's not the new Birds of Prey movie or whatever. It says, oh, she's being emancipated. Well, if they were really writing Harley Quinn, there was nothing to emancipate. Harley Quinn is just as much the slave to the Joker. I mean, the Joker is just as much the slave to Harley Quinn as Harley Quinn is to the Joker. For example, I wouldn't put it past Harley Quinn to kill the Joker if the Joker started making eyes at another woman. Like if the Joker fell in love with someone else and said, "I'm sorry, Harley. I mean, on this occasion, like I said, Harley, I'm in love with this lady now. I don't really need you in my life anymore." I'm pretty sure Harley Quinn would kill the lady he fell in love with. If that didn't work, I wouldn't put it past her to kill the Joker, because that's the way her character is. But she might seem innocent and sweet or whatever. It might seem like she fell into the wrong crowd. It's not that like that at all. Because I think it's canon, or at least it used to be canon, that before Harley Quinn became the Joker's sidekick or fell in with the Joker, she was a selfish, kind of borderline evil, manipulative psychiatrist. she would torture her patients with false memories and stuff. I read that somewhere. I don't know where it is, but she was not a goody two shoes at all. And I always wanted to write like my own what I think Harley Quinn would be, like a story involving Harley Quinn, and how I think a true portrayal of her would be. Not the current feminist icon Harley Quinn we have now, because that's not her at all. That's a distortion. Okay, that's a distortion of what Harley Quinn is. It's like when people try to copy Hannibal Lecter, they just take all the sensationalist parts. They only took the sensationalist parts of Harley Quinn and made her into a feminist icon, rather than her keeping true to her actual character. So let's see. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what you have to say. Okay. Clayton Kindle says, I would rather have an Arthur Fleck type. Stephen Fitzgerald, one of the themes of the Hannibal books and films is that almost no one is born a monster, but is made one through abuse of some kind. Yeah, that's one of the themes. Even Hannibal Lecter himself. I mean, I don't know if you want to count Hannibal Rising, which was kind of contentious because I think Thomas Harris was kind of I think he was forced into that one, but it kind of gave a backstory for Hannibal Lecter. So if you want to count it, you can. It is written by the same writer. It's not like Disney bought the rights and made it and ruined everything. It's written by Thomas Harris. And Hannibal Lecter was a normal boy until he was kidnapped by some men. He and his sister were kidnapped by some men, and I'm not really sure if this was actually took place in some of the other books too, because I know Misha was also in the book Hannibal, and it was part of that weird ending. The really strange ending to Hannibal the book. But Hannibal and the men were trapped, and they were forced to eat. They ran out of food, and they killed Hannibal's sister and force-fed Hannibal his own sister so that they could all survive, and he ate her. So that's where his kind of cannibal roots came in through. And that's what kind of traumatized him for the rest of his life, was the fact that he had to eat his own sister. Let's see here. Hex Harper, somebody who just has to deal with everybody's BS at least once a year. I kind of like that idea, actually. Idea that this guy's an accountant. And because he's an accountant, he could be that Arthur Fleck type. You know, this kind of nerdy kind of guy, not very imposing in stature, very pitiful. So, you know, that would be the Arthur Fleck type. He could be the Arthur Fleck type if he was an accountant. Let's see here. Blank, the rebel is the shadow of the society. As an object casts different shadows by the source of the light, so too does the shape of the rebel changes from frame of writing. Exactly. There's all kinds of rebellion, and all these people come from different walks of life, but they're all rebelling against the same society. It's just that they see different cracks. They rebel against different aspects. Or maybe they even rebel with the same aspects, but their drives are different. They have seen different aspects of society from different views, different sides, and they've all chosen to rebel because their personalities told them so. Let's see here. The board enthusiast, Harley Quinn, I'm the bad guy. Yeah, the writers of the modern superheroes and the movies anyway, I guess comics too these days, they have no idea who these characters are. Because no longer are the people who actually invented these characters writing for them. Only the people who have seen these characters and know that only the superficial elements are the people writing them these days. They don't even want to look any deeper. They say, okay, so this is Harley Quinn. She is madly in love with the Joker, and that's it. She is an unfortunate, pitiful character who is just in love with the Joker. She just wants to make him happy, and she needs to be emancipated. Give me a break. Give me a break. That's not Harley Quinn at all. That's the feminist version of Harley Quinn. It's not actually Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is neutral evil. She is selfish evil. She will kill the Joker under the right circumstances if it fits her desires. Okay, That's the true essence of Harley Quinn. It's the true essence of Miss Lovett. They're both the same, essentially the same character, in a very similar or the same situation. Stephen Fitzgerald. Originally, Harley Quinn was a uh, Hibristophilic, lustful for dangerous partners, and in the animated series where she first appeared, she followed him willingly after psychoanalyzing him. Yeah, I remember that. I think it was actually played that in Mad Love. I think that was the motivation for in Mad Love. And so yeah, it's her selfish desire to go along with dangerous partners. She's not serving him out of selflessness or because she's devoted. At least not devoted as normal people would be. Selflessly devoted. She's selfishly devoted. That's where the madness comes in. She's selfishly devoted. A Born Enthusiast, I guess you could say her infatuation with the Joker is selfish by how hard she works to vainly to make him happy. It's skewed view of selfishness. Exactly. These people are mad. Remember, these people do not think like normal people. She serves the Joker. Harley Quinn serves the Joker because it's her desire to serve him. That's what she wants. Her desire is to have him love her, and that's it. Should her desires change, she will kill, steal, cheat, lie, do whatever it takes to achieve her ambitions. That's the essence of the character of Harley Quinn. Here, Creeper Weirdo. Okay, weird pitch, but if they do make that Joker sequel, then it needs to be about him and Harley. Joker and Harley. Now, I would really like that. It says that they didn't want to do a sequel to this, but judging by the fact that it made $1 billion, they might. They might end up doing that. I think a Harley Quinn in this Joaquin Phoenix Joker's universe would be very interesting. I think it'd be very interesting, especially because if they keep the same tone, the same mood, that she's going to be just as crazy as he is, but different. I'd like to see that actually. I hope they don't mess it up or sensationalize it or try to be, you know how they do with a sequel. They kind of polish it up, fancy it up, and I hope they don't do that too much or at all actually. But the premise would be very interesting to me. Let's see here. Joker and Harley. Blank. Characters must want something even if it's as simple as wanting a glass of water. To quote one rule of writing from Kurt Vonnegut Jr., yeah. You can't... That's like one of the reasons why Rey of New Star Wars is so terrible. She doesn't really want anything other than to wait there for her parents for some reason. We don't even know why she wants to wait for her parents. I guess it's just because she loves them or something. But that's the closest thing we get to motivation. It's just motivating her to stay there. Here, Hex Harper. What if our psycho always had an Addams Family style personality, but with minus the charm? Oh, you mean obsessed with weird things and always getting into seemingly mortally dangerous situations? It's like I think the Addams Family always loved to, like they went to torture chambers to relax. So I think is that what you mean? Manera-chan. Harley Quinn gets treated like victim because everyone in Hollywood sees all women as victims. Yeah, that's exactly right. The feminist, all women are victims, all men are abusers sort of mentality. Born Enthusiast, I guess you could say that Harley is a slave to her own desires, but instead of any form of power or money in the end, it's the desire for a person. Exactly. It's her selfish desire for a person. It's kind of weird to kind of visualize. That's exactly what her character is. People want money, people want power. Harley Quinn wants the Joker, so that's exactly what she's going to do. She's going to do whatever it takes to get the Joker. The more blatant and more easily identifiable version of Harley Quinn is Miss Lovett from Sweeney Todd, where she will lie, cheat, and steal even to Sweeney Todd, so that he will love her. So that's a more blatant and more overt form of Harley Quinn, but they're both the same character, both the same alignment. They're both doing the same thing. Okay, they're both doing the same thing. Let's see here. Let's see here. Uh, Anne Barrier, Miss Lovett is an enabler. Yes, she's a Lady Macbeth type. She's an enabler. So it's kind of her if in the movie anyway. Now the Penny Dreadful version is kind of I guess starts off with them already murdered as far as I've seen, but uh, in the movie, Miss Lovett is the one that says, "Hey, maybe you can kill people and I can turn them into pies." I don't know. It's like a kind of like a suggestion because Sweeney Todd he kills the barber, Tenio Pirelli, and he's like, "Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and take him out to some secret place and bury him, I guess, and then I'll wait and plan my revenge against Judge Turpin." And then Miss Lovett says, "It's an awful waste. It's a lot of meat. I mean, I could make him into a pie. I don't know." And then Sweeney Todd says, "Hey, it's a good idea." So Sweeney Todd he does all the stuff. I mean, he is the murderer. He's the guy who drives the operation. But it was Miss Lovett who planted it inside of his head. Because what better way to get him to love her is that, to foster that togetherness, is that to feed into his desire for revenge and guide him and manipulate Sweeney Todd into opening a business with with one another, just a business together. He shaves people upstairs and kills them. He sends them downstairs and she bakes them into pies. Both of them make a lot of money, and both of them are good to go. And they're working together. She has linked him to her in that manner, but she will do what he says. She will serve him. She will protect him. She will stick up for him at every instance until something gets in the way of her desires. And if that person getting in the way of her desires is Sweeney Todd, she will lie, cheat, and manipulate even Sweeney Todd to get what she wants. And that's the essence of Harley Quinn. That's very much the essence of Miss Lovett. Stephen Fitzgerald. Right, Harley selfishly lusts for the Joker. She was always bad, but she had it under control until she met him. Yeah, and that's why I find it interesting that some people are made bad, but some people are kind of are born with that psychotic tendency, and that seems to be what Harley Quinn was. She wasn't a person who was abused, or maybe she was, but she wasn't. To me, she seems to always have that one psychotic element to her. She was always crazy. Is that when she met the Joker, she was able to unleash it. She was really able to mold herself to him and to his style of crazy. So that's why the modern iterations are so kind of off, because authors just say, "Oh, she's a victim," and that's it. They don't want to look underneath for the deeper elements to her character and why people actually loved the character of Harley Quinn. It wasn't just because she loved the Joker. Okay, there's lots of characters like that. Lots of characters who like powerful villains, but none of them had the same effect as Harley Quinn did. And people seem to have forgotten why she was so popular. Let's see here. Let's see here. Sorry for person. What do we have? What do we have? Family with a Charm. Let's see here. The Bored Enthusiast. Question: what are the differences between Lady Macbeth and Harley Quinn? Harley Quinn is she's more than willing to let the Joker just do his thing. She's more willing just to sit back and take his orders and make him happy. Miss Lovett I call her a more overt version of Harley Quinn because she has to do more. She has to be more active in keeping him around. So she becomes an enabler, and Lady Macbeth is the poster woman for enabling. So the difference between Lady Macbeth type and Harley Quinn is that Harley Quinn in particular is not really an enabler. Unless the Joker is down, then she will enable. But it's the ambition. Lady Macbeth wants her husband Macbeth to be the top dog. She wants him to seize the crown when it's available. Harley Quinn doesn't really want that. She's not really wanting the Joker to be on top or number one villain. She just wants him to love her and to stay around. I think that's one of the big differences. And even with Miss Lovett, she might be an enabler, but she's not that ambitious. She does not want Sweeney Todd to become king or anything. She just wants him around and for him to love her. I think that's the most glaring difference between Lady Macbeth and Harley Quinn and or Miss Lovett from Sweeney Todd. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see here. A blank. I want more. Quote every Disney princess. Exactly. That's Disney princess syndrome. I want more. And it's kind of some of them are kind of selfish because they have responsibilities. After all, a princess is not just someone who just lies around all day. Not in reality. They have things to do. They have responsibilities to take care of. And they're always trying to rebel against the responsibilities. Like, oh, I'm being kept. I'm being forced to do this. Being forced to marry a man against my will. I mean, that's your duty. Okay, you get pampered, and you get people serving you and bowing to you. Okay, the price for that is some of that freedom. Okay, you get to live in a nice house. You get to be rich. You get people bowing and scraping their knees. Your responsibility is to take care of those people, even if that means burying someone you don't love. Okay, it's your lot in life. You don't get to be pampered and worshipped, and then still have the freedom to do what you want. Doesn't work that way. Let's see here, Stephen Fitzgerald. She turns on. Let's see, Lady Macbeth is more the villain than Macbeth. Yes, Macbeth was only pushing the villainy by Lady Macbeth. He was content to be receiving rewards for his valiant service. Lady Macbeth really pushed Macbeth. It was the one that pushed Macbeth towards his life as villain in life of villainy. He is a means to her end, pretty much. Pretty much. See here. She turns on Macbeth the moment she has second thoughts. Exactly. So yeah, Lady Macbeth enables Macbeth to take the crown. She wants him to take all the risk, and she will get all the reward. Ian Barrier. So just like every abused white trash girlfriend ever, then. I suppose so. Hex Harper. Lady Macbeth was more on board with the plan of killing the king than her husband was. I think it was her plan. Like it was that. I think he acknowledged the temptation, but she was the one who really drove the plan home and forced it to come to light. Let's see here. Stephen Fitzgerald. LMB is more the spoiled rich woman who wants what she wants. Yes. Yeah, I'm not really even sure she ever loved Macbeth. She just had the ambition. Like, hey, if you're a real man, I think this is pretty much her argument. It was like, hey, if you're a real man, you go in there right now, kill the king, take the crown. And then Macbeth was kind of like, fine. He's kind of whipped into doing it. Let's see here. Let's see. A bored enthusiast. Do these Hannibal Lecter types also have elements of mental illness? They tend to. At least, let me put it this way. Not necessarily mental illness. Now, the Joker movie actually goes into this. That's not mental illness exactly. It might not actually be mental illness. In reality, it just might be their way of thinking, that they are not mentally ill. They're just think so alien and so differently than the rest of us that it looks like mental illness. We perceive it as such. But it might not be. It's like in the Joker movie. His quote-unquote mental illness is just his true self trying to break free. Free of the mask of Arthur Fleck. Because Arthur Fleck, the character of Arthur Fleck, in the movie, is essentially a mask. It's essentially a falsehood that he wears to fit in, to walk through society without drawing too much attention. Because at that moment, he's kind of weak. He's the guy you walk all over. Same with Patrick Bateman, and same with Hannibal Lecter. They all have masks they put on or had at one time put on. Even Hannibal Lecter, he was a well-respected doctor who worked with Bill Graham to catch criminals so that he could fit in. That's true in the movies, true in the books, and it's true in the TV shows. Let's see here. So, I mean, I guess it could have a mental illness feel to them. I think what's really intriguing, what's really scary about them is that it might not be. I think that's what they have in common, is that they might appear mentally ill, but they're thinking clearly, more or less. That they seem to be full in control of their faculties at any given moment, even if the reality around them doesn't seem to be as consistent or cohesive. But they are in full control. That's why Arthur Fleck's medicine didn't help. That's why Patrick Bateman's medicine didn't seem to help. And that seems to be why so many of these guys are just really intriguing. It gives you contrast. They should be mentally ill, but the scary thing is, they might not be. I think that's one of the essence, one of the core elements to these a character like Joker or Patrick Bateman or Hannibal Lecter. Let's see. Monero-chan, the character, maybe he doesn't have any free time, so he can only flirt with the woman he works with, but he always gets sent to HR department for harassment. Oh, that's an interesting development. Yeah, we could see that happening. Let's see here. Hex Harper, CPAs make tens of thousands a year, but most of it goes to courses where they have to learn the new tax code. A roommate's coworker is in a grocery store to make money for himself. Okay, that's interesting. That would be very grating on the nerves, I think. See, creeper weirdo. I think they can be mentally ill, but don't have to be. Yeah, I think I said it might be it's like an appearance of mental illness, but they think so alien, so differently, that it seems like mental illness when it's not. Stephen Fitzgerald could be a sociopath, someone with their own moral code apart from socially acceptable ones. That seems to be more accurate to what these characters portray. Clayton Kindle with the Andy Dreyfuss type. Andy Dreyfuss type. I still like the movie, thinking he might have actually killed his wife in a moment of passion and paid for it at Shawshank. Oh yeah. A Clayton Kindle, one bad day ruined him. Exactly. The Killing Joke, one bad day. All it takes is one bad day. I'm pretty sure the Joker in the movie had one bad day. Ian Barr, Birds of Prey, a sequel to Joker? I don't think so. No, I think it's completely separate. It's not the same tone at all. But I think a Harley Quinn character in a sequel to this Joker, pretty interesting. I think it'd be pretty interesting to see how they portray Harley Quinn here. I think she'd also have an alien mind. She also would think so strangely to the rest of us that she would also seem mentally ill. Let's see here. Deadborn Enthusiast. Yes, it's a sequel to Suicide Squad. Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Birds of Prey is a sequel to Suicide Squad. Again, they forgot Harley Quinn's character, so they made her, quote unquote, emancipated, which is a huge misstep. Huge misstep. That's why I already know this movie is going to be terrible. Let's see here. Let's see. Stephen Fitzgerald, here's an idea. An accountant with a high IQ and no conscience who knows that he or she could be more. Yeah. Especially because he's an accountant. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Let's see. This character, let's see. Stephen Fitzgerald, this character could be driven by rage and envy, driven to destroy those that he or she sees as inferior. So, like a Patrick Bateman sort of motivation. That's what Patrick Bateman does. He kind of sees things. He hates things that he sees as inferior. Unless, like in the book, unless she's a beautiful woman. So, like he hates homeless people. He hates poor people. He hates the homeless people. But one time in the book, he saw a woman he thought was homeless. So he said, for one instance, he said, "Oh, I feel so sorry for her. I'm going to give her a little help." And he put some money in her cup that she was holding out. It was filled with coffee. It wasn't homeless after all. But the one time he wanted to help a homeless person, it was a beautiful woman. That's Patrick Bateman all over. Hex Harper, savvy with all the government's convoluted rules, making him resentful of his job, and all of his clients are idiots, making his life all the more bothersome. Exactly. That seems really good. Stephen Fitzgerald stuck at a dead-end job, but knowing that they could run the show 100 times better. Yeah, very, very egotistical, very self-centered. Clayton Kindle, how about these people pushing for a viral video? Thinking fame will make their problems go away and make their life a little better. Here, Hex Harper, he kills people, tax fraud, and driving them to suicide. Be an interesting way to do things. Kind of like a psychiatrist drives people to suicide by manipulating their fears and what they hate, etc. Blank. What makes Macbeth an interesting play is the tension between destiny and ambition, as well as how these two forces individually shape the characters. Yeah, I mean, fate is what kills Macbeth in the end, more or less. It was fate. His ambition got him to where he was, and it worked out for him. I mean, he paid the price at every step of the way, but it worked out for him essentially. He did become king, but it was fate that took him down in the end. Stephen Fitzgerald, H. Holmes made money by committing insurance fraud with his victims' information. Yeah, good old H. Holmes. I think he was the one with the hotel, I believe, right? I think he was the one with the hotel, like a deadly hotel. The art killer could be doing that, kind of like with tax fraud. Hicks Harper, I feel emancipated too if I didn't have to stand next to Jared Leto. Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good that's a good point. I heard Margaret Robbie was actually a good sport about that. Actually, Jared Leto sent her a live rat as one of his weird presents that he gave to the crew. And Margaret Robbie, instead of throwing a fit or whatever or getting mad or being offended or scared, she actually adopted that rat as a pet and named it. And she still has it, I think. And see, the War Enthusiast, by the way, your casual daily reminder, Epstein did not kill himself. Or did he? No, he didn't. Maybe maybe it was meant to look like he killed himself by this accountant. He messed with Epstein's taxes and bam. Maybe he killed himself. Americhan. Maybe our character's home life is the only thing he has to look forward to. Then his wife leaves him, which caused him to snap. That would be interesting. Interesting. The weird thing about all these guys, though, is that they're all single. They don't really have any partners that stay with them. For example, Hannibal Lecter is single. He has he wines and dines people, but he's never married or anything like that. He's never partnered up with anybody. And Patrick Bateman, he sleeps around a lot. He sleeps around with models and strippers and hookers and all that stuff. But he doesn't. He even has a girlfriend, Evelyn, but they don't really stay with each other. I mean, they're kind of together sometimes, but mostly he's kind of on his own. They only get together for dinner or parties or something. But Patrick Bateman, other than that, Patrick Bateman sleeps around and he doesn't settle down. Just the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker. He technically has a girlfriend in the movie after a time when he starts gaining his confidence. She turns out to be a figment of his imagination. So I think it seems to be a glaring similarity between characters like these, and that the solitude, how they remain like this on their own and isolated, needs to be a driving force, a driving narrative force to these type of characters. So I think if he has a wife or something, then they're separated, I think. Or we have a Patrick Bateman situation where instead of being separated, they just they don't really see each other that much. I mean, he has a girlfriend that they don't really love each other. It's kind of like just kind of together for appearances or because it's sort of something you do. I think that'd be fitting with the character. So it's we have our accountant, and I think you should like do a casual kind of cold clinical way of killing people. Like he's the type of guy who would just like Patrick Bateman, where I guess we're essentially making an accountant version of Patrick Bateman. Where he'd kill someone in his suit, but he'll put on like a raincoat first. But he's a lot less wacky, more clinical, more like a Hannibal Lecter type. Well read, maybe. What do you think? What do you think, chat? What do you think? I'll wait a few seconds. See where it goes. Let's see here. Let's see. His job, maybe divorce. The Hannibal Lecter archetype reminds me of like You Got Me from Death Note. Yeah, because Hannibal Lecter, he is a genius. Now, Yeah, as opposed to Patrick Bateman. Patrick Bateman is not a genius. I'm not even sure he's that smart. He doesn't act that smart during the whole movie or book. The only thing he knows is that he has desires, he has very disturbing thoughts, and his knowledge is really extended only to I don't know pop culture. I guess, and that's just not really exploring it either. Just taking it in so you can fit in somewhere else. I mean, he explores it too, I guess, but it seems to be in the capacity as the same as Bret Easton Ellis. So yeah, he has a perceptive nature towards things he likes, but he's not nearly the genius archetype as Hannibal Lecter is. And the Joker is not Arthur Fleck's Joker anyway. He's not a genius either. He's not the criminal mastermind you think Joker is. He's just crazy. I mean, he's more erratic. He just goes in there with a gun. He's not the chemical genius, or he doesn't come off as a genius in any kind of way. He seems like an average guy. Patrick Bateman is he's not really smart. He's not particularly smart. He's not particularly dumb either. The Hannibal Lecter type is a genius, and Light Yagami too was a genius. So so if you want that's why I think we could add in a little bit of Hannibal Lecter, have our accountant be a genius. Can we Light Yagami Hannibal Lecter type? Genius type? Let's see here. Yeah, Hex Harper, well read, still lives in a low rent apartment. Yeah, that could be interesting. A nice little tension there that he has all these nice books. He's read Ulysses, he's read the Odyssey, and he has them everywhere. It's like a little library, but he lives in a low rent apartment. Like he's an elitist who lives in Roach Motel. I mean, that's pretty interesting, I think. Let's see here. Let's see here. I like that. I like that. Let's see. Let's see. And a bad American adaptation of Death Note. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, the adaptation of Death Note, the Netflix adaptation of Death Note was pretty bad. It was really really bad. But it was kind of bad, but it was kind of fun. And I really like Willem Dafoe as Ryuk. Willem Dafoe kind of looks like Ryuk anyway. Let's see here. Let's see. Blank. Maybe our character is a person who believes in a greater good, like God or Son of Sam. Well, that's interesting. Or environment, or the environment was a ghoul, or nihilism for this Joker, or fate, like No Country for Old Men. Oh yeah, let's go with fate. Go with fate. I was like uh, No Country for Old Men. I believe that's Cormac McCarthy, right? Let me see here. I think that's Cormac McCarthy. Let me see. Make sure that's Cormac McCarthy. Let's see. Or was that? I think wasn't that a book? Yeah, Cormac McCarthy. He wrote No Country for Old Men. That's it. I knew I was right. And by the way, Cormac McCarthy also wrote The Road. Anyone has seen that? The one with in the post-apocalyptic setting. He also wrote The Road. Cormac McCarthy has written a lot of stuff you didn't know. He's like the one true literary guy left. He's just, I don't know, his writing style is way too flowery for me. Just like I'm reading a flower. It's really interesting. But let's see. Yeah, so Anton Chigurh, the aspect of fate. I think it'll go well with the whole taxes thing, because there's only one. You know how the old saying goes. There's only two things are certain. That only two things in life are certain: taxes and Epstein didn't kill himself, or something like that. I know the saying goes some way like that. So taxes is definitely one of them. And so fate and certainty are very close to each other, either as opposites or as parallels. And it's always something you have to pay for. So I think it'd be interesting if you go with like a Chigurh type of fate motivation. Let's see here. Hex Harper, so we're going for the calculating nature of Lecter, the fashion sense of Bateman, and lifestyle of Fleck. Yeah, pretty much. And the sense of fate of Anton Chigurh. Let's see. Counselor 074, like Joker says in The Dark Knight, he's not a planner. He's a dog chasing cars. He's chaos incarnate. This doesn't really fit. An accountant would be a planner and methodical. Yeah. He'd be this guy would be a planner. He'd be very methodical, very like have everything planned down. If anyone has seen Mr. Brooks, I'd imagine him being like Mr. Brooks. You know, he knows everything. He's planned everything down to the T. I think in Mr. Brooks he said, "Well, what if he kill someone without a vacuum cleaner in the house?" They said he wouldn't do that. But he scopes out his victim first and gets the routine down, and then he hunts them down, making sure he controls everything, every aspect of the kill. More like a Hannibal Lecter methodical type. Let's see here. Stephen Fitzgerald, lots of intelligent elitists do, live in crummy places owing to their poor social connections. Well, then that'll work then. That'll work. I like the setting. I like the setting of this genius, methodical accountant guy sitting in the Roach Motel, like a Roach apartment. I mean, interesting start of a series, actually. Just like a Bates Motel sort of thing, where he just every week he has to deal with the wacky neighbors that live in the apartment, and he'd almost be like an anti-hero, like a psychotic like a Dexter type almost. Let's see here. No Country for Old Men is a great film too. Yes, absolutely. It's one of my favorites. Let's see here. Blood Meridian. Yes. You're in a cake. Cake. Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian was best evil genius of all time. The Judge. Yes, the Judge from Blood Meridian. Oh yes, I would suggest you read Blood Meridian, but you kind of have to be prepared for it. Blood Meridian is very dark, very violent, and the Judge. Now that's a character. So yeah, just read Blood Meridian, but do so at your own peril. But yeah, Blood Meridian, fantastic work, fantastic stuff. Cormac McCarthy. Let's see, Clayton Kindle, The Road was a great book. I liked it, bleak but very honest. Yeah, that's what you get from Cormac McCarthy. A lot of bleak. His stories tend to be very bleak, very honest, very real, and therefore rather disturbing. Very literary, very literary. See, Minerachan, I love the character of Light Yagami, because you might think it was the Death Note that turned him evil, but there's an evidence to suggest that he was always like that. And I think it just brought out the evil in him. The note just allows him to act evil. Yeah, it just brought out the evil that the Mr. Hyde hiding inside of him. Let's see here. As said in Fitzgerald, one of the greatest things I like about Death Note is that it's what happens when you give someone with no power, godlike powers. I would imagine that that's what happens if you gave like an NPC SJW the Death Note. They would be killing all their people they get in Twitter arguments with. Well, they'd want to. They still couldn't because people use handles and stuff. That'd be an interesting new take on the Death Note, though, because now that in the internet age, you have screen names, so it'd be interesting to see how the next holder of the Death Note would deal with something like that. You're in a cake. Although the Judge from Meridian is more of an ancient force, something hard to pin down, like a Heraclitus view of nature, essentially. Heraclitus's. Yeah, from what I remember of the Judge, it's been a while since I read Blood Meridian. For the Judge, very dark, very interesting character, and yeah, he's more a force of nature than an actual guy. I'm not even sure if he's human. I don't remember if he's human. I think it's actually confirmed that he is a mysterious force of nature rather than a person. Let's see, Minerachan, exactly because you don't know whether he was always evil or the power corrupted him. You're in a cake. Any vids you have where you discuss your view of the Joker movie? Not yet. Not yet. I was waiting for it to come out on DVD or whatever so I can actually use it in a video. I didn't find it. I didn't find it. If you did, I dug it, despite some gripes I had with it. Yeah, I really like the movie. I really like the movie. Monero-chan, why can't I kill PewDiePie? Hex Harper coming up next summer. Beware of the Doxer. Dun dun dun. We're enthusiast. Also, something completely unrelated. Forgive me. What was your take on the new Sonic movie trailer? If it is it a true redesign or marketing tragedy? I was never really a Sonic fan in particular, but from what I've seen, the original Sonic they had out there was horrible. So it was terrible. The redesign was great. It looks exactly like Sonic, and they did so because fans complained, which usually these days returned with vitriol and accusations of being a Nazi or sexist or racist or something. This company did not do that. They listened to the fans, said, "Okay, we'll fix it, get it done," and it looks like Sonic now. When I see that character that they made, it looks like Sonic. So I approve. I approve. You're in a cake? Cool. I'm looking forward to your future video on it whenever it comes out. Hopefully, whenever the Joker comes out, I'll get it immediately, and I will cover it in a video because I can use it for so many things. So at the end of the day, we have our character who's an accountant. He's very methodical. He lives in a squalor-esque environment, like a roach motel. He's very well read. Probably always like a very intellectual vocabulary. Always quoting different books. And living in kind of a roach motel. He's kind of an elitist. Oddly enough, ironically enough, that he wants to kill people who are after those who he sees as inferior to him. And he lives in an apartment, so I think it would be interesting if he stars in his own show or series, in which he has to always deal with his neighbors and stuff and see what happens. I think it could be interesting to see him be both villain, be in a role where he plays both villain and hero at some points. Never does his motivation change, but his actions can either paint him as a hero or a villain at any given point. And I have that give you that question as to what really makes a hero. Is his actions or is it his intentions? His intentions are just to kill people, but his actions might end up saving someone innocent or helping one of his neighbors out when they get into a jam. Let's see here. Seven Fitzgerald. So our Roach Motel killer, who's he targeting and why? Clients, people who screw with clients. I think he just is indiscriminately doing so as long as they offend him, kind of like a Hannibal Lecter type. That's what seems to be his motivation here. A Hannibal Lecter-esque motivation to kill people. That they seem uncultured, seem kind of like a mix between Patrick Bateman and Hannibal Lecter. People he doesn't see as worthy of life. Let's see here. You're in a cake. I came across your vids looking for info on why SJWs suck at character development, although I still feel I don't fully understand why they do. Your vids have been rad. Keep on keeping on, brother. I sure will. I have the next one coming out. I don't know when, but I'm working on the next one right now. I think I've landed on this time on Superman question. Is Superman a Mary Sue or is Superman a Paragon? I'm going to compare Mary Sue with Paragon because that seems to be one of the prevailing excuses that the SJWs have left. Oh, Luke is a Mary Sue and Superman is a Mary Sue because they're all very powerful. No. Superman is a Paragon character. There's a difference. Paragons are not Mary Sues. Let's see here. Stephen Fitzgerald, that's something attacking people to financially ruin others. X Harper, I like the little monster we've made. Richard, have you seen the anime Black Lagoon? I feel like that show has the same tone as these other stories. If you haven't watched it, you need to. It's really good anime. I haven't seen it actually. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. I heard it was really good. I heard it was like almost legendary. Made a video on the should be characters. So I think it was fun. We had made our accountant. We had where he lives. We kind of made him a character, and he has the same feel to him as these guys, as these Jokers and Hannibal Lecters and Patrick Batemans. But we're heading towards an hour and a half. I think we had a good time. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream off here. So thank you for joining me. I'm glad we're still online. We've stayed online the entire time, and YouTube did not kick me off this time. It seems that the using pictures does not trigger YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. Thank you for everyone for joining me. And I think we had a little bit of fun going over the nature of Harley Quinn and the nature of the Joker, Patrick Bateman, and Hannibal Lecter, making up our own Hannibal Lecter, Patrick Bateman's Joker-esque character. And I thought it was fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you all were all entertained and found it intriguing. So, I'll say good night and hope you had fun, and I'll see you next time.